Welcome to Chapter 40, Highway Safety and Vehicle Extrication. This chapter is kind of important as far as highway safety goes. I would also encourage you guys to take a TIMS class. It's Traffic Incident Management Systems. So you can find those online. There is a couple free ones out there. They are kind of long, but it is good information, and most services are going to start requiring it, so I would encourage it. So highway emergency operations. So oncoming traffic at highway incidents is one of the greatest hazards that we face, and responding agencies and personnel need to be cognizant of their responsibilities in these types of hazardous environments. So there's lots of threats that are present on scenes, on highway scenes, such as people who are rubbernecking, causing secondary accidents, and people not paying attention, those type of things. EMS response should be limited to only the manpower and vehicles needed to accomplish the mission. So limit the response. The first arriving unit should institute blocking to protect the work area, preferably the fire apparatus. So whichever direction the traffic is flowing, then that's the way we want to block traffic. And it may be necessary to block lanes of traffic. We're going to get them as clear as possible, as quickly as possible, so that flow can return to normal. So in our initial response, for limited access highways, our only primary or first due incidents, our units should proceed directly to the scene, and then park in a single file line in the same direction to minimize on-scene congestion. Establish command and confirm the exact location of the incident. Use apparatus to institute upstream blocking to protect the work area, and rescue trucks arriving to perform extrication should be positioned downstream of the initial blocking vehicle. Your blocking apparatus, so you want to create 1.5 to 2 lanes of blockage. You want to position the apparatus at an angle with the front wheels rotated away from the incident. For other apparatus, leave space immediately next to the crash for vehicle extrication. Position your ambulances, command units, and other units downstream from the crash, and always and this allows for safer patient loading and rapid departure from the scene. When exiting the vehicle, you should always exit into a safe zone if possible, and after checking to make sure that traffic has stopped. Communicate when you're going to get out of the vehicle. Look out for any kind of oncoming traffic and monitor when it is safe to exit. Responders should wear full protective clothing, at minimum an ANSI approved safety vest and helmet. Place flares or traffic cones to slow traffic and channel it away from the incident lane. Night operations, shut off the vehicle's headlights and white response lights. At night, those lights blind people, so they may not be able to see very well. Your best combination of lights to provide maximum visibility would be your red and amber warning lights on, headlights off, fog lights off, and if you have a traffic directional board, it should be going too. So let's talk about vehicle extrication. There's several different phases of vehicle extrication: preparing, sizing up the situation, recognizing and managing any kind of hazards, stabilizing the vehicle, and gaining access to the patient. So providing primary patient assessment and rapid trauma assessment, disentangling, immobilizing and extricating the patient from the vehicle, and providing assessment and care and transport to the most appropriate hospital, and terminating the rescue. Preparing for the rescue, so it's a combination of training, practice, and the right protective gear and tools. Availability of training will depend on the kinds of rescues most likely to be required in your area. When we size up, we want to do a good size up to evaluate any kind of hazards and address the need for any additional resources. How many patients are involved? What's their priority, their mechanism of injury? Do we need any additional ambulances? And what is the extent of entrapment? Protective gear. So at a crash site, any personnel working within the inner circle should wear full turnout gear to avoid being injured. If your service does not provide protective gear, then get your own or stay out of it. Use your protective gear, okay? So protective gear for EMS responders working in traffic should wear a helmet and wear safety vests to enhance visibility. Extrication operations, so increased risk of exposure, flame, gas, fluids, and sharp objects. Best practice is to wear an EMS or firefighter turnout clothing, including helmet and eye pro, and then matching the levels that others are wearing. Helmets, eye protection, hand protection, and body protection. Safeguarding your patient. So to protect your patient, you should have a rescue blanket, a lightweight vinyl coated paper tarp, wool blanket, short and long spine boards as well, hard hats, safety goggles, disposable dust masks, thermal masks, and emotional support for your patient. So when we manage traffic, you're going to use the ambulance and its warning lights as a first form of traffic control. Position other warning devices as soon as possible. If you use flares, you're going to look for and avoid any kind of spilled fuel, dry vegetation, or any other combustible material. Do not throw the flares out of the moving vehicle, and position a few flares at the edge of the danger zone as soon as the ambulance is parked. Take a handful of flares and walk carefully toward the oncoming traffic. Position the flares every 10 feet, if possible, to channel vehicles into an unblocked lane. If that collision has occurred on a 2-lane road, position the flares in both directions. Be careful when lighting the flare and never use a flare as a traffic wand. Airbags. Airbags are designed to inflate on impact and dissipate kinetic energy and minimize trauma to the body. It can create a smoke in the vehicle. It's cornstarch and talcum powder. So they may report some airbag burns as well. So we're going to watch for an airbag that remains undeployed after a crash. If that airbag has not deployed, and we see it, assume that it can go off at any minute and don't get in front of it until it's been disabled. Energy absorbing bumpers. So if the bumpers are involved in the collision, you may notice that the bumper has shock absorber system is compressed or loaded. So never stand in front of it. You want to stand diagonally or perpendicular, and you want to approach the vehicle at a 45-degree angle, not head on. So, spectators. So they may interfere with rescue and emergency care efforts in addition to traffic. If policies permit, ask responsible-looking bystanders to keep spectators away. Give them barricade tape. Do not put in unsafe positions, and you may be held liable in an adverse event. Electrical hazards. So high voltage lines are common. Assume that the entire area around the exposed wire is dangerous. Conductors may have touched and energized. Ordinary protecting gives no protection against electrocution. If there's a broken utility pole with down wires, it's very dangerous. Set up a large safety zone. It's going to be 1.5 times the height of the pole itself, so you're going to go like 2 times, 2 poles down to mark your safety zone. Determine the number of nearest poles that you can safely approach and ask your dispatcher to advise the power company of the pole number and its location. Do not attempt to move any kind of downed wires. Stand in a safe place until the power company disconnects the power or cuts the wire. Broken utility pole with wires intact. You want to park the ambulance outside the danger zone and notify your dispatcher of the situation. Stay outside the danger zone until the power company can de-energize the conductors and stabilize the pole. Keep any kind of spectators and other emergency service personnel out of the danger zone as well. If there's a damaged pad-mounted transformer, we're going to request an immediate power company response. Do not touch either the transformer case or the vehicle touching it. Warn other emergency personnel and stand in a safe place until the power company de-energizes it, and keep spectators out. Vehicle fires. So for small fire, you can use a 15 or 20 pound class ABC dry chemical fire extinguisher. If there's a fire in the engine compartment, do not attempt to extinguish it unless the hood is fully open or open to the safety latch. If there's a fire in the passenger compartment or trunk, we want to apply the extinguisher sparingly until the occupants can be freed. If in the trunk, apply the same principles as the engine compartment and leave extinguishment to the fire department. If there's a fire under the vehicle, sweep the flames from under the passenger compartment. Truck fires, typically these guys are going to have an ABC extinguisher for any kind of truck fire. Burning truck tires are especially dangerous. Never stand directly in front of a truck wheel when it's there on fire. And flames can spread into the body's vehicle and cargo, or the tires can explode. The electrical system. So remember that many cars have electrically powered doors, locks, windows, window operations, and seat adjustment mechanisms. Disconnect the negative cable from the battery. Stabilizing a vehicle. So if a vehicle is on its wheel, we're going to turn off the engine and stop chalk 3 sides of the vehicle. If it's on its side, we're going to stabilize with ropes or cribbing or stabilizer bars. If the vehicle is on its roof, we're going to use some 4x4 wood blocks to build a crib box. Simple access. So when we gain access, there are 2 different types. There's simple and complex. Simple is check if the door or window can be opened. So try before you pry, keep it simple, stupid, kiss it, those type of things. Complex access includes tools and equipment, and you may have to break the glass inside or rear view mirror window as far from the passengers as possible. Step 1 and 2 is to gain access by disposing of the doors and roof. So make the vehicle interior accessible. This creates a large exit, provides fresh air, and helps cool heated patients. And quick access to critical patients can improve the survivability and even decrease morbidity. Step 3 is to disentangle the occupants by displacing the front end. This is easily accomplished by heavy-duty jacks and hacksaws. Do not cut the steering column or airbag wiring, as this can cause an unexpected firing. All right, so here is a video of extrication. So extrication can take a really long time, or it can take 15 minutes. It just kind of depends on what kind of extrication it is. And this was not designed to tell you every single little deal about extrication, because typically the fire department will do extrication. So all we are concerned about is kind of like an awareness level of extrication of this is how it's done. This is how you treat your patient while it's being done, type deal. So if you have any questions, let me know, and I will answer those to the best of my ability.